Welcome to the God's Word News service with your host, Bishop Gregory.
Our nation, our freedoms, our rights, and Christianity are under attack. America has become a dangerous place, and it is not because of those who commit evil acts, but because of those who lack the courage to rise up and stop it. In his latest video titled An Impromptu Video, which can be seen above, by Bishop William of St. Michael's Monastery and the New Warrior Ministries, Bishop William asks the question, are we men in a republic of laws? We must answer this question quickly, because failure to do so, and correctly, will cost us everything that has made America great. We will become a socialist communist country devoid of any and all freedoms, never to return as the constitutional republic we were founded to be.
Good evening. I'm Bishop Gregory, and I have a very serious message for every American man, woman, and child. You better open your eyes. Open them fast. Wake up. America and Christianity are under attack. Everything that went into the founding and building of the United States into the greatest nation in the history of the world is under attack and being torn asunder, not by any foreign power or enemy, or by any out of this world alien power, but by our own supposed citizens, aided and abetted by a majority of our own elected officials, who have sworn an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this land. These people are not protesters, least of all, not peaceful protesters. They are rioters, agitators, inciting riots and rebellions across the United States. The dismantling of our society and culture is not new, but what is new is the violence and speed at which it is happening. It actually started decades ago with the slow destruction of the ethical, moral, and spiritual fabric of America. It began with the removal of prayer from our schools. It began with the institution of sex education and the legalization of abortion, the rise of the LGBTQ organization, and then allowing of gays and lesbians to foster and adopt children, and declaring same-sex marriage to be constitutional. Today, nothing is considered sacred anymore. Not marriage, not the traditional family, not our religious beliefs, not morality, not ethical behavior in business or society. Nothing. The Democrats are blaming President Donald J. Trump, claiming it is his actions and words that are causing a deep divide in America for their actions against our government and the people of the United States, when, in fact, it is their own unreasonable and unnatural hatred for President Trump and all those who elected and support him. And what many people do not realize, or may want to ignore, is that those on the left had and still have plans for the United States. Plans that would fundamentally change everything about America and how we live our daily lives, how we raise our children, what we eat, how much we eat, where, when, and how we travel. Hillary Clinton was to pick up where Obama left off, pushing the United States from the land of the free, from a great capitalist economy and mighty military power, into a socialist communist hellhole. And the left believed with all their heart that there was no way that Hillary Clinton would lose the election in 2016. They were so sure, so convinced that Donald Trump was too stupid, too inept to win. After all, the Democrats proved how great they are at pulling off all kinds of underhanded, unconstitutional scams on the American people. When they succeeded in getting a constitutionally ineligible candidate elected and sworn in as President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, who was not a natural-born citizen, a man who did more damage to America in the 8 years he usurped the office of president than any outside enemy had ever done in the history of this nation. But for all their scheming, illegal actions, and political dirty tricks and out-and-out lies, for all their treacherous cohorts in the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and on the courts, they failed big time because they did not count on the will and intelligence of we, the people. When, to the left's utter dismay, Donald J. Trump was elected president, the Democrats then reached deep into their bag of dirty tricks and corruption and honestly believed they had an ace up their sleeve and could have Trump removed from office through impeachment by fabricating evidence and lying to the FISA court, claiming that Trump was a Russian agent working for Vladimir Putin and committing a quid pro quo scheme with the Ukrainians. Nancy Pelosi and her band of Democrat idiots in the U.S. House of Representatives wasted not only time but millions of taxpayer money on phony congressional investigations and judicial committee hearings and an impeachment trial in the U.S. Senate. And when all of their efforts failed, they flew into what can only be described as a demonic rage. With a hatred for Donald Trump and all those on the right who support him, a hatred so strong that it utterly prevents them from having any rational thoughts, and which has now pushed them completely over the edge into total insanity. Their unnatural lust for power and total control over the lives of the American people has driven the Democrats and their leftist cohorts into a frenzy of tyrannical madness that they are now using the COVID-19 pandemic to wantonly abuse their power and the Constitution in all of the states controlled by Democrat governors and cities controlled by Democrat mayors who have ordered their police to stand down as they allow the so-called peaceful protesters to burn down stores and businesses, homes, private property, to deface and destroy statues, to assault, kill, and maim innocent men, women, and children, as well as police and other law enforcement personnel. Police are ordered by governors and mayors not to interfere as the members of Antifa and BLM, armed to the hilt with all kinds of firearms and other weapons, illegally take over public parks and large sections of cities to set up illegal, cop-free zones, even in our nation's capital. The mayhem, arson, murder, assaults, destruction of private and public property continues unabated across the country. In New York City, Chicago, Illinois, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, and many more cities and states, the Democrats crave and want power and total control over the entire country, and they don't give a damn who or what they have to destroy to get it. While allowing lunatic rioters to run wild and releasing criminals out of prisons and jails to freely roam the streets and commit more crimes. Many of radical leftist mayors are calling for the defunding, if not the total eradication of their police departments. Seeking to defund the police department by half in the name of so-called racial justice. The Seattle City Council finds itself in a quandary. Slashing the budget would require firing police officers according to seniority, and many of the junior officers who would be let go are black. So, City Council member Lisa Herbold has a simple solution: fire only white officers. Now, to give you a clear idea as to just how demented the leftists are, the vast majority of the members of the Marxist-controlled Black Lives Matter organization are whites who are spreading disinformation and lies to black Americans that there is systemic racism in the U.S. and that America is the most evil country and has been from its founding. Also, in truth, Antifa and the BLM are the new KKK, the modern enforcement arm of the Democrat Party. To the sick and demented Democrats who control Seattle, Washington, your skin color is a crime. If you are a Caucasian, and if you don't believe it, recently, in an extremist and perverted version of anti-racism training, the city of Seattle officials summoned all its white employees only to a mandatory anti-racism meeting officially titled Interrupting Internalized Racial Superiority and Whiteness. At this meeting, white employees were told that their white qualities, which included perfectionism, objectivity, and individualism, were offensive and unacceptable. They were more or less ordered to drop those qualities and undertake the, quote, work of undoing your own whiteness, end of quote. They were also ordered to give up personal comfort, spending time with their families, guaranteed physical safety, relationships with other white people, and the certainty of their jobs. Now, in just what universe does any of this come even close to sounding rational? Personally, I think it sounds like the leftists are pushing for mediocrity or below in our places of employment. And this is clearly evident in their choice of candidate for president, who's an individual who suffers from the most severe case of brain farts of any individual on the face of the earth. And I'm talking about Joe Biden. A man who can't remember what office he's running for, or who has no idea what city he is in at any given time. A man who loves to sniff the hair of young girls and women. A man who can't tell the difference between his wife and sister. A man who just unveiled a very scary sounding plan that will, quote, get kids to market swiftly, end of quote. Whatever the hell that means. And a feeble old man who is trying to minimize his chances of screwing up the presidency. Something he really doesn't need to worry about, because if he should be elected, he would only be a puppet whose strings would be pulled by Pelosi, Schumer, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and the rest of the leftist squad. Even when he is provided with a script, Biden does not have the mental capacity to get the words out in the proper order. The man is mentally unfit to hold the office of the President of the United States. But the leftists could care less. What better way for them to gain the total control and power they so long for than to get a senile old man elected? And you can bet they will use whatever means of voter fraud to do it. Besides tearing down all of our historical statues and their attempts at erasing our history, the power-drunk Democrat governors and mayors are not only allowing religious statues to be defaced and or destroyed, and churches to be burned down, they are also resorting to bullying tactics to silence churches and houses of worship. In Illinois, Elim Romanian Pentecostal Church and Logos Baptist Ministries refused to obey Governor J.B. Pritzker's illegal orders limiting church attendance to 10 people. In retaliation, Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot declared war on the churches by towing and impounding the cars of neighbors who live around the church, and then blocked the church parking lot, and even threatened to destroy the church building through summary abatement if just one more person set foot on the church property. Governor Gavin Newsom of California both supports and encourages rioters to publicly chant death to cops and sing songs of Marxist revolution. But he arrogantly commanded all California churches to stop singing or chanting about the Lord. This is a direct violation of the First Amendment of the Constitution. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam established a Nazi-like hotline, urging people to report fellow citizens who violate any of his draconian orders. In Holly Springs, Mississippi, a small church was firebombed, leveling the sanctuary. Quote, "Maybe you'll stay home now," end of quote, was spray painted on the church parking lot. Several elderly Catholic priests have been assaulted and severely beaten, one with a set of brass knuckles, by violent protesters here in the U.S. Throughout history, unjust and tyrannical rulers have dispatched roving bands of vandals and instigators to beat, punish, and destroy the persons and property of citizens and churches alike. The use of bully tactics is finding new life in many of the Democrat-run cities and states of America, including here in my own home state of New York. Franklin Graham, evangelist and founder of the Samaritan's Purse Charitable Foundation, and son of the late Billy Graham, speaking at the First Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Florida, said, quote, "Once gone, America will not come back," end of quote. Graham stated, "The American dream ended on November 6, 2012, the second term of Barack Obama, and has been the final nail in the coffin for the legacy of the white Christian males who discovered, explored, pioneered, settled, and developed the greatest republic in the history of mankind. A coalition of blacks, Latinos, feminists, gays, government workers, union members, environmental extremists, the media, Hollywood, uninformed young people, the forever needy, the chronically unemployed, illegal aliens, and other fellow travelers have ended Norman Rockwell's America. You will never again outvote these people. It will take individual acts of defiance and massive displays of civil disobedience to get back the rights we have allowed them to take away. It will take zealots, not moderates, and shy, not reach across the aisle rhinos, which are Republicans in name only. to right this ship and restore our beloved country to its former status. And people like me are completely politically irrelevant. And I will probably never again be able to legally comment on or concern myself with the aforementioned coalition, which has surrendered our culture, our heritage, and our traditions without a shot being fired. The Cocker Spaniel is off the front porch, the Pit Bull is in the backyard. The American Constitution has been replaced with Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. And the likes of Chicago shyster David Axelrod, along with international socialist George Soros, have been pulling the strings on their beige puppet and have brought us Act Two of the New World Order. The curtain will come down, but the damage has been done. The story has been told. Those who come after us will once again have to risk their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to bring back the republic that this generation has timidly frittered away due to white guilt and political correctness. I'm afraid that Franklin Graham is correct. And through our collective failure, for whatever reason, to stand against the evil forces that have brought us to this point, we are now reaping our just rewards. And things will get much worse. By doing nothing, by burying our heads in the sand, we are all guilty of the destruction of this once great land. And when the angel of the Lord comes to seek out the righteous, he will find none righteous in the land with which to stay the hand of the Lord from meting out his righteous and terrible judgment upon this land. Wake up, folks, and wake up fast. Thank you for joining me. May God bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.